What's up, boys and girls? Before we get into all things Omen, I want to take a moment to thank you for visiting my channel. This is my first YouTube channel where I'll be showcasing some of my most interesting and applicable mods. These mods are do-it-yourself upgrades to common products we use every day, and my goal is to show you ways to give these products a boost and, dare I say it, improve quality of life. If you enjoy or find the content useful, please consider subscribing. And I'm not one for revenge, but I should mention the like button snuck inside my house last night, went into my lab, used my heat gun, and shrunk all of my heat shrink. Why do I still like you? So if you'd find those dirty digits, that dirty like button, and give it a smash for me, I'd super appreciate it. Alright, today's ManicMod is an overhaul of the HP Omen 30L's cooling system. I'll explain why this needs to happen and how to fix it by installing the most powerful air cooler, the Noctua DH15. I'll detail steps how to override HP's fan controller to put custom fan curves in your back pocket, and finally share my dramatic results. Spoiler alert 1, I can play Dead Space at temperatures cooler than my old desktop's idle. Spoiler alert 2, even gaming, she's whisper quiet. The same cannot be said for my girlish screams playing Dead Space Remake. Spoiler alert 3, the Noctua cooler will need a case mod, but it's a simple, non-destructive, exclusive ManicMod I detail herein. So like most mods, they're built out of necessity, and in this case, I didn't really realize my HP Omen 30L was overheating at first. I typically game downstairs in my living room, and I have a 30-foot HDMI connected between the two to provide me the 4K 120Hz I oh so desire. So at first, I dismissed the fan noise, just believing that my computer was doing its computer thing, not realizing that I was actually hitting temps of 99 degrees and up. And at first, when I discovered this, I was quite embarrassed because I've worked in the field so long and I've built my own computers for so long, I've just kind of trusted HP. So I dismissed this fan noise until I got a 48-inch LG C2 OLED installed in my office and started gaming more here. I played Atomic Heart, and the machine noise was unbearable. If anybody knows, I mean, you're here, you know how loud this machine is. It is like a hairdryer running. And again, a lot of us probably assume or just let it go that we just think it's doing its job. This was anything but true. As soon as I knew my HP Omen CPU was running in the high 90s playing games, I rolled up my sleeves. And this is probably a good time to mention, this is not going to be a short video. I wanted to outline my discovery, testing, and hypothesis before going into the modifications. Feel free to take a leap of faith and jump right into that section. After recognizing my gaming temps, I ran Prime 95 torture testing all 10 cores of the i9-10850 to arrive at similar CPU package temps. Since this isolated test to my CPU, I observed temps slightly lower in the 90s since my RTX GPU was not heat soaking the internals anymore. Still, I could not end my thermal testing fast enough. I went to the web and confirmed these results are not isolated to my machine. Many of us have experienced these die melting temperatures. I felt let down by HP. Do they care more about the aesthetics than performance of the machine? If they put some of those costs from RGB lighting into more R&D, could they have done better? As some of you may know, the root cause is the liquid cooler radiator size and placement. The manufacturer of HP's liquid cooler, Cooler Master, makes good products, but performance with this i9 and environment is poor. Liquid coolers are inherently less efficient than passive coolers, but they can improve performance by relocating the heat source. For example, the new location can allow a larger radiator that would not fit elsewhere, or take advantage of cooler ambient air on the intake side, or a location with less air pressure or a more direct exit on the exhaust side. The HP Omen 30L's liquid cooling design leverages only one of these benefits. It's close to the exhaust side, but by the time the Omen pulls the air through the radiator, it's been heated by the rest of your system. To make matters worse, the radiator does not offer a lot of surface area. It only has one single exhaust fan, which is starved by the rear exhaust. For these reasons, I was seeing 50 to 60 Celsius desktop temps and those 90 plus gaming temps I spoke about. This is not good for chips and also brings me to my final problem predating my discovery. The HP Omen in this 30L case is a very aggressive fan curve in an attempt to cool the CPU. It's not uncommon for these cases to sound like a hairdryer or a jet engine at anything above 75 Celsius. This was acceptable when I was gaming in my living room while shamefully ignoring to check temps, but now it was time to do something. My goal was to reduce idle temps from 60 to 20 to 30 Celsius based on my previous builds and data points around the CPU. More importantly, I needed to significantly reduce the CPU temps and noise while gaming. I don't game a lot, but when I do, I don't want to worry about ruining my CPU or listening to a jet engine. The how was manically simple. Leave my HP warranty intact while installing one of the biggest air coolers on the market, the Noctua DH15. I've had a lot of experience with this cooler over the years, and it's still one of the best made coolers on the market. I also knew that no fan swap or additions alone would bring these temps to a tolerable level. I contemplated a case swap, but this seemed unnecessary as much as I love wiring and soldering. I will note here that case swaps I've seen either leave the small liquid cooler or leave the control of the fans to HP. So these are more laborious solutions with similar results at best, and you will not be setting a custom fan curve to tune or throttle the fans to your preferences or new environment. I was confident that with less effort than the cooler swap itself, I could extend the side of the case by removing the glass and adding a frame to the door, which the new plexiglass adheres to. And I was confident I could do this in a non-destructive way to revert if I ever needed to. I knew once plexiglass was installed, I could even add a direct intake to provide the CPU cooler, fresher air. And I'm happy to report I've met this goal and more. As a matter of fact, my Omen now idles in the mid-20s and games whisper quiet in the mid-50s. A special shout to Noctua and NZXT for making this build possible, although this video is not sponsored by them in any way. Without Noctua, I would not be able to run so cool. And without NZXT, I would not be able to create a custom fan curve to adjust the fans to their cool new habitat. And in case, no pun intended, you're wondering how I avoid fan errors, I've got that covered too. Alright, finally, let's get into the build. So that is a pretty much zero modification top fan install. Again, 140 millimeter fan. Make sure you're pushing that airflow outwards, looking at the side of the fan to determine airflow. And again, as a reminder, I put the VHB tape on the bottom there to give it a strong footing and help with the vibration control. The top, then I went around and I pushed these PEMs in, made sure that underneath they were doing their job. You could see them all not only touching but hugging the inside ridge of the fan. Alright, so I recently installed one of these DH15s on an AMD and actually did not require the backplate to be removed. This is a LGA 1200 socket because it's the i9 10850K, so I will have to use secure firm 2, if you will, back bracket after pulling the board. And as far as the spacer kit, I'm going to use, it specifies the black for LGA 1200. So again, the AMD is for gray. You actually don't need the backplate. The blue is for socket LGA 1700, so I don't need those. Gotta love Noctua though. You could take these for generations forward. And here's my LGA 1200. So bare minimum essentials for my swap on the board. Backplate, spacers, and then they have the common parts here, which includes good thermal paste, a badge, and another fan bracket for an additional fan. It's a little cable management adhesive clip as well. So without further ado here, I'm going to get this stuff off my desk and we're going to pull that board. Alright, going to pull the motherboard here. Before I do, I recommend you get a nice cup of coffee or a beverage of choice. No, what you really want to do is take some high resolution pictures of your cable routing. Certainly you can use this video, but yours might be different. Lord knows there are variations in the way these are built. So I'm going to disconnect all the cables. I'm going to get a little Sharpie ready so I can make any notes, either external or on cables themselves. Most are keyed, but there are 8 screws holding the motherboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Install the screws, the PEMs, posts, whatever you want to call them, and you're taking note that we're in LGA 1200 here, so we're using that red triangle, position 1. On position 1, we'll put the retaining clip in. I like to spin it, make sure it's good. Wiggle. Alright, with the stock backplate off and the Noctua backplate equipped, again noting that there's a particular direction. It says motherboard facing side. I was able to just drop it in. I did have a peek around, and what you want to do in this orientation, so if your CPU is on the top like this, do note that you want to have this spacer opening facing you. And that's to accommodate some little points right there, and I'll take a picture of that. But that does allow you to clear that microscopic little resistor, whatever it could be on that board, perfectly, and then there's no other interferences here. We are using the black spacers, the NM1PS1 spacer for the LGA 1200. And then we're going to be choosing position 1 on this cooler again, or on these slots, so I should be lining up to 1. And now depending on your positioning, you're going to have this left or right. Excuse me, top, bottom, left, right. For my position, I'm going to be mounting it like this, so I have to get the extra clearance from the GPU, so I want the screw to be there. rotate it outside, make sure there's nothing on the right here. And yeah, so that's the difference right there. It would have been too easy if there was any more plug and play. Gotta have more mods, right? Alright, so to recap here, I wanted that LED strip. I'm just trying to save it, you know, have it in there because it does look cool. As a reminder, this would flip over and it usually mounts here, pointing down. I'm still in the same orientation with the LED strip. Cover is on, the side cover with my frame built, about an hour, including wrapping and mounting it to the computer itself. And then I took another hour. I made the plexiglass. I put holes, manually drilling, creating a matrix. This is going to sit on top of here, and I'm going to add some VHB along the perimeter. Basically a bridge, male to female 4-pin connector, and I'm taking the green RPM wire and I'm going to bring it up, and the first connector here on the right will connect to the LCS fan, air fan. The second will connect to the LC pump. That's always a 12 volt out, so what I've done here is I've shot this down, and this will connect to an optional GPU fan on the bottom of the case if I want to in the future. And then back up, I'm going to bridge that same green RPM wire, and this connector goes to CH fan 2. Here is that RPM bridge cable connected. So male to female, and I piggyback off the green, which shoots up, and then see those 4 wires tied together there? One goes to the LCS fan airflow, one goes to the LC pump right there. It goes down from there. This is an extra auxiliary fan, so if I want to add to the bottom, I can. It'll be 12 volt because it's an LC pump, it's always on. And to go back up, it shoots left to the CH fan, so all the ports get the RPM and I should not throw a fan error. So you can see here my NZXT fan controller mounted with the adhesive magnets. I've got my pigtailed external fan, or my side fan. Port 2 for the CPU mid fan, and I use port 3 for the top fan. And this is the final result. I appreciate you sticking around. I've tried to keep this video as short as possible while delivering the what, why, and how. In the next week, I will be releasing a follow-up that shows just how dramatic the results are when gaming and load testing. I did want to mention, if you're looking to drop your CPU temps and want less ManicMod, I'd focus your efforts solely on giving the CPU radiator fresh air. I'd encourage you to follow step 12 to replace the door's glass with plexiglass. If you don't have a heat gun, you can heat your Omen case door in an oven at about 260 degrees, which will soften the butyl glue. The plexiglass knife tool, in order to trim to size, can be had for around $20. To create the fan opening, you can drill holes as I have, or use a 561 Dremel cutting bit. Purchase a 120 or 140 millimeter fan and duct, and you should see a dramatic difference for around $60. If you want help or want to share your experience here, I am all ears. And with that, I want to thank you for checking out my video. This build took me about 6 hours. Delivering it to you took over 20. So if you got something out of it, kindly show your appreciation by liking. And if you want to see more of this material, please subscribe.